Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the new Build-A-Figure MCU Hulk figure, which, at first glance, may seem like a really good Hulk figure. Is it? Well, we're gonna get into that. I've heard some people say it's great, and I've heard other people say how terrible it is, and I'm here to give you the skinny, no pun intended, okay, I intended it, on this skinny Hulk. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands with his knees bent just a little. Okay, we'll straighten him out, even though Hulk doesn't ever stand straight up, probably. I guess he does now that he doesn't fight. Anyway, a little over 22 centimeters, which makes him just about 8 3/4 inches. And this Hulk doesn't appear in the movie at all. I don't know what this is supposed to be exactly, but it's a general Mark Ruffalo Hulk, I guess. Maybe that's what they were going for. Maybe they just didn't want to make the CrossFit Hulk. I don't know, which I'm thankful for because, God, what a terrible design. But this is not what Hulk looks like, so that's kind of a problem. So as far as aesthetics go, this is in individual sections not a bad figure. Like, for example, if you look at just the chest, that's a pretty nice sculpt. It's got a nice organic look to it, no problem. It's got nice skin texture throughout. That's pretty good. The pants have texturing throughout. There are some good things about this guy. One of those things is not the heads. We do have two heads. We'll talk about that in the accessory section. But holy crap, did these heads not look like Mark Ruffalo, and are the faces freaking weird? Holy crap, are they freaking weird? They are way small on the face, and they don't have the right proportions for Hulk at all. He's got a giant top of his head, which is not how Hulk ever looks, especially on this head. Look how big the top of his head is. It's huge. He's got a little tiny scrunched up face with a big head. It looks really weird. He looks like a big baby, literally. Like that's like baby proportions on his head. Also, his neck is very long. He's got really tall traps. It doesn't look like Hulk's built like a brick. He's supposed to be wide, stocky, square-shaped. This guy's tall and lean, relatively. For a Hulk especially, he's very lean. I mean, if you shrink this down to regular figure size, he doesn't look that out of place. Like, he's not that big. It doesn't look like Hulk at all. It looks like Hyperion level of muscle, not sculpt-wise, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't have the right look. So it's very strange looking. His hands are small relative to his arms. He's supposed to have giant Hulk hands. He doesn't. He has little small Hulk hands that are basically human-sized relative to the rest of his body, which doesn't make sense. His feet are human-sized relative to the rest of his body. He has long, skinny legs rather than short, stocky legs. This does not at all look like what Hulk looks like, especially in the movie. And then beyond that, we do have some chest hair, which I guess is okay. He's got like Wolverine level chest hair, so he's never had that in the movie. Like, he wasn't hairless, but this is like, he almost looks like Zangief over here. In fact, he's built a lot like Zangief over here. It's so strange. Then we have just regular things like the bicep swivel has just a shelf going around it. Guess they just said, screw it. We don't want to make it look good. We'll just do that. Like, that's not normal. That's really weird. There's a giant gap between his torso and his abdomen, or his abdomen and his pelvis, I mean. Torso and abdomen's up here. So I can almost wedge my ruler in there. That's a big gap. I can wedge my ruler in there. You can push it down, but it doesn't stay. Aesthetically speaking, this figure gets a 4 out of 10. It doesn't look like Hulk. It doesn't look like a good figure, and so 4 out of 10. Terrible. As far as accessories go, we do have the alternate heads. We have the sad head, which I guess is technically a little bit of a better sculpt. Still really weird head proportions. And then we have this smirking head, which looks like a 9-year-old kid who just got away with something. Like, he's making the dumbest expression, and the face is way too small and poorly placed on the head. This has to be one of the weirdest looking sculpts I've ever seen. Also, the way they painted the gray on the sides of his hair, he didn't really look like that in the movie. This looks like Reed Richards. This is terrible. So accessory-wise, 5 out of 10. Time to talk about the articulation. The head is on a double ball peg, which you would generally think is pretty good. and they gave him an extra big neck, which you would generally think would allow for better range, but you get almost no range out of it. Almost none, up and down. You can lean it side to side a little bit. You can rotate it, of course, so that's the thing. And that's it. And also, oh, by the way, there's a giant gap. I mean, giant relatively speaking. His head is gapped the whole way around. I mean, obviously not in the front where his jaw is. The only way to get rid of the gap is to have his head forward and then leaning up. If you put it back here, you've got gapping. It's, oh God. Why are these things happening from a company like Hasbro? Oh, that's right, because they don't care. All right, for the shoulders, we have our standard ball hinge, doesn't go horizontal. Full rotation, bicep swivel, ugly as hell, but does rotate. Double jointed elbows, you get really good range, that's good. Wrist swivel and a hinge. Oh, by the way, we have a grabbing hand and a fist hand. Not even a second fist hand. No Hulk smashing here. All right, diaphragm joint, does lean back. They did carry the paint through at least mostly, so that's pretty good. Leans forward, not very far, leans much farther back. Side to side, does work pretty well. Rotation is good. Waist swivel is there, but there's a giant gap again. For the hips, you can bring them forward, not all the way, but probably far enough. They don't go back. They do go out to the side, though they are very floppy. Very, very floppy, and he's kind of heavy, so he likes to do the splits when you're posing him. So that sucks. Thigh swivel is there. Double jointed knee is there. It's ugly as hell, but it works. And then for the ankle hinge, they go back pretty far, but you can't bring them forward at all. So you can't put Hulk in one of his like knees bent, kind of hunched over poses because his feet don't go forward enough. You'd have to bring him all the way, he'd bring his legs all the way forward in order for that to work. So it's looks more like he's trying to take a dump. Very, very strange. And then you do get an ankle rocker out of that swivel hinge, which is okay. So articulation on this guy is pretty average. It's nothing impressive. The diaphragm joint's pretty good. Hips are really loose. Shoulders don't go out to the side. Neck kind of sucks. Ankles kind of suck. 7 out of 10, I guess, for the articulation. So, final verdict on this guy. Is it better than the other Hulks that we've gotten in his plain look from the MCU? In some ways, yes. In other ways, definitely not. I don't have them to compare because I got rid of all my MCU figures except for Iron Man. But I have reviewed them, so if you want to check out my other reviews, you can do that and see what you have to choose from. In some ways, yes, it's a significantly better, markedly better. But overall, it's still a kind of a turd. So I can't really recommend it. I'm going to give this figure a 5 out of 10. And that's being generous because it doesn't look like Hulk at all. If he was skin colored rather than green, you wouldn't think, hey, that's Hulk. You just wouldn't. He's not. He's tall. He's skinny, relatively speaking. He's a lanky Hulk with a goofy ass head and a long neck and little hands. It's just not good. So there's my final word. Don't buy it, honestly. I mean, obviously it's a Build-A-Figure, so don't buy the set for him, and maybe don't track him down unless you really, really need a Hulk. I know I'm sure as hell selling this thing off because I have no desire to keep this in my collection. So there you go. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you didn't, well, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to consider it because I do have thousands of videos already on the channel and new ones coming out just about every single day. So make sure you come back for that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.